G'day, I'm Neil and my handle is Wiley11. I'm just going to put my disclaimer here. Whatever I do and say on these videos is well-intentioned and well-meaning advice. I accept no liabilities whatsoever for any disclosures. If you take some advice or act on something that I'm saying on these videos, you do so entirely at your own risk. I'm doing it based on my experience. These videos are my attempt to give back to YouTube for the help and assistance that YouTube has given me. So once again, you follow along or follow advice from these videos entirely at your own risk. Okay, and if you're not happy to do that, click this off and off you go. Because this is purely my attempt to give back to YouTube, as I said, for the help and advice that I have received out of YouTube. So this is just my little attempt to give back. If you're happy to follow along at your own risk, buckle up, sit in. Let's get into it. G'day, welcome back. It's a Saturday morning. It's overcast and gloomy, and it kind of suits my mood. I haven't posted anything for a while, and being honest with you, I've been pretty unmotivated to post anything to YouTube. Not one person has looked at any of the videos to this point, other than myself. I've been getting my stats up by looking at them myself. There's good information in my videos, and no one seems to have found me on YouTube. So why bother? Well, that's a good question. Why bother? Well, I always said that this is my way of giving back to YouTube. This is my attempt to do the right thing. Hang on, I'm just knocking shit over. I just noticed I left something turned on. I need to turn off. The problem with trying to give good information to people is that sometimes they don't want to listen. Most of the stuff that I'm saying challenges your thinking. Like, I've said things like, you need to cut your credit cards up. Everybody needs to cut their credit cards up. Everybody, without section. And if you want to find out why, then go look at the video where I've said why we should cut the credit cards up. Everyone needs to budget. Everyone needs to get themselves debt free. Everyone needs to maintain their tools and look after the planet. And you know, these things that I've said here on, they challenge your thinking. It requires discipline, and you know, I think when I look around at my immediate environment in our society, discipline is the biggest thing lacking, you know, in everything. Like, you know, I'm going to go out on a limb here and it could get myself sued, but let's talk about Cardinal George Pell. Now there's a guy that was a trusted community member and a community leader. And he's been put in jail for assaulting young kids. Well, where's the discipline? You know, that guy, you know, it was 35 years ago. Maybe he learned the discipline after he did that. I mean, you know, he's been judged. He's in jail. And he was a high-ranking member of the Catholic Church. He was a cardinal. Now, let me ask you, if you're putting your faith in people like that, how does it make you feel to find out that they betrayed your trust? Really, you got to put your faith in yourself first. So if I've said something on these videos that challenges you, good, you know, good. I'm telling it to you like I found it. I'm trying to give out advice the best way I know how. I've got something stuck in my teeth. Not the best time to make a video. Now, my mum passed away last year, just before Christmas. It's only been a couple of months, and I still feel raw about it, and I miss her. I've had to move on with things. You know, since she's passed away, I've gone out and I've got myself a truck license. You know, just because I'm not doing anything else. You know, now I can drive a truck. So I want to go out and get a skid steer license. So, you know, I can drive skid steer equipment and that, but I haven't got a license to do it. So I want to go out and get that license. That makes me more valuable to prospective employers. And, you know, I need every advantage I can get in going after a job. Now, it turns out I've got a job, but it's a bit shitty because I'm a casual and they only call me in when there's work. Well, at the moment, there's no work, so I'm sitting around waiting for a phone call. And I've been told it might be as much as a month before I'm going to get one. So I'm laid off. There's no work for me, and there's no other jobs. There's nothing around that I can do where someone's prepared to give me a go. And I can do a lot of stuff. I can drive a truck. I can drive a forklift. I'm a first aid officer. I can operate computers, repair electrical equipment. I can repair engines. I can retrofit scanning equipment. I can do all sorts of things. And there is apparently no work for me. Okay, look, enough said about that shit. I feel mightily depressed by my situation. I feel mightily depressed by what I'm seeing with young folk. You know, here's a great example. There was a red light. You know, the light says don't walk, right? And now the inside lane was stopped and the guy had stopped, you know, leaving gap where he was supposed to. He wasn't supposed to enter this pedestrian traffic light, right? So it's just a pedestrian one. There's no other traffic other than the pedestrians coming into that point. But it's to allow safe passage across the highway for the pedestrians. That's what it's there for. Now, it's a busy road, and the inner lane was stopped, but the outer lane was travelling at 60 kilometres an hour. Right? Now I was in the outer lane, travelling along, and I was at the head of the traffic that had been stopped at the previous set of lights. So I'm coming up to this pedestrian crossing, which is controlled by traffic lights, and it was don't walk. And what I saw was a whole bunch of young kids start to cross into the gap that had been left by the stopped lane, and there was like 15 or 20 of them, and they all went poof. Now I'm doing 60 kilometres an hour towards them, and I saw them, and so I've jammed the brakes on, and the guy behind me's jammed his, and so forth and so on. Now, if I hadn't jammed the brakes on, I'd have ploughed into them, right? So we're coming in hard. I've almost screeched the car to a halt. I haven't screeched the tyres because there's ABS, right? So the car's come to a stop. Couple of metres, and of course they've crossed in front of me. They just kept going. They didn't even think twice about it. They just kept going. So I wound the window down and I asked them, mate, you lot got a death wish? Well, the abuse I got back, I couldn't believe it. They had no concept of how close they came to me ploughing into them. No concept. And they thought they were completely in the right and entitled to give me back abuse when I was saying to them, look, I nearly killed the lot of you, right? I didn't see you. I saw you, like I saw you at the last minute. You could have caused an accident. I could have ploughed into you. Like the guy behind could have kept coming, pushed me into you. Anything could have happened, right? And it would have been your fault. Well, the torrent of abuse and swearing that I got back from that group of people, I couldn't believe. Now, discipline was right out the window. They had no concept of how close they came to being killed, right? No concept. They, of course, were in the right. You know, they weren't going to hear about the fact that someone took the time to point out just how close they came to being killed. It wasn't even reason. Now, one of these days, those kids are going to grow into positions like Cardinal George Pell. They're going to be given a position of real responsibility. And maybe they'll think back to this day when some bloke pulled up at a traffic light and abused them because he knew he killed them. I don't know. But there's no discipline there at the moment. And you've got to wonder, where do people learn discipline? Where do you learn it? If you don't learn it at home, you don't learn it at school, where do you learn it? Well, the answer is life teaches it to you the hard way, right? Yeah, you know, one day they're going to walk out in front of a truck, bang, right? And that's the end of it. If I'd been in a truck, there's no way I would have pulled it up before I ploughed into them. No chance, right? If I'd been travelling in a truck at 60 kilometres an hour and they'd walk through and in front of me, that would have been the end of it. There's just no way I could have stopped the truck before I would have ploughed into it. But I was in a vehicle that could stop. You know, it was in a fairly good performance vehicle. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, you got to get smacked in the teeth before you learn discipline. Self-discipline is the biggest asset you have. The biggest one. Now, I've been thinking about that for a couple of weeks. I've been stewing on it. And I've stewed on it enough. I've got to a point where I'm going to put this video up. I wish I'd had dash cam of what occurred on that day. I didn't have it, of course. But there's so many examples of people on dash cams where people are walking out against the red lights. They're taking your life in your hands when you do it. And there's no reason to do it. It's a couple of minutes out of your life to just be safe. Even when sometimes you walk out on the green light, if it's icy and wet, you've still got to look. You've got to make sure the traffic isn't having some problem. Don't just walk out when it turns green. You know, you've got to make sure, you've got to have that discipline to still be aware that there could still be a problem going on, you know? I would have felt terrible. I mean, I would have felt terrible if I'd ploughed into them. I would have been, you know, I would have been unbelievably distraught. Once they abused the crap out of me, maybe not so much. If you're in a situation where you're not happy with what's going on, then you've got to change things. You've got to make efforts to change things. Now, I'm doing that. I'm going out. I'm learning how to speak German. I'm learning how to drive trucks. I'm learning how to speak French. I'm learning how to write new software. I'm keeping up with technical documents. I'm doing everything I can do to keep my asset, me, at its peak condition. You know, you are your best asset. That's it. You know, it's going to come a day when you're going to be able to nominate what your net worth is going to be, because people are going to be demanding that you do things, and you're going to be there going, well, maybe I want to or maybe I don't. The answer is in your hands, right? Entirely in your hands. There's just no getting around that. All right, well, I've said enough. I just wanted to point out that discipline is your best asset, and that's something that's lacking in so many people around the world. And there are examples in our leadership, there's examples in our community, there's examples in our schools. I saw an article where 45% of teachers have been threatened with physical abuse by students. 45% in Australia, it was an Australian article, 45% of teachers have been threatened by either physical or physical harm. Now, what we've done with our kids is we've removed the ability of parents. We've removed corporal punishment. We've done that, right? We've said, no, we can't smack our kids around the backside. Now, let me tell you, I got smacked around the backside if I was naughty. I'm none the worse off for it. And I still have issues with things. I'm going to be honest with you. There are things that I could do that I can improve about myself. But I'm not a lazy person. I seriously am not a lazy person. When I need to work, I get in and I do the work. And I don't shirk it. I don't take lightly my responsibility when I have to work. But, you know, I can sit around and make excuses all day long. If I wanted to, I've got plenty of them. I've got a truckload of freaking excuses why I shouldn't do anything. Do it anyway. I don't know what the real answer is to the problem. I would say let the parents punish kids, because look, at the end of the day, punishment is what it's about. It's the way you learn as a young person that something's right or wrong. If you do it wrong and you get told off for it, that's the first level of punishment, and that's it. You don't go to the next level. You just keep getting told off for it. Well, eventually you're going to be immune to getting told off. And this is what's going on with these kids. Now, there would have been a smattering of them between, 12 years old and 20 years old, and every single one of them, there were about 15 of them, put themselves, in the line of fire. And it was all the sheep, the sheep. The one guy went, they all went, the flock mentality. Well, if you're following a flock of people along, well, you've got to make sure they're doing the right thing, If they all want to go walk off a cliff, are you going to walk off the cliff too? That's the adage. That's the analogy. Like you probably want to walk off a cliff. Well, that's what these people were doing. They were walking into danger, and you were walking right along with them, right? And you thought you were dead, you were in the right, even though that light was against you. You were right. Well, you weren't. You were wrong. Okay? It was a complete lack of discipline. If someone smokes, well, smoking, everyone knows smoking's bad for you, right? But someone smokes, so the rest of them say, oh, go on, you can do it. Yeah, okay. Well, you know it's bad, but you do it anyway. Well, guess what? Then you're addicted. You take drugs, well, that's bad, but guess what? Then you're addicted. You start drinking, that's bad. Well, guess what? Then you're addicted. You get into credit, right? Well, you've got to do a budget, but hey, so what? They'll sort that out tomorrow. Well, guess what? You are now beyond hope, in debt, up to your eyeballs, and paying off stuff that you didn't even need. Discipline is what I'm saying. It is by far the best asset you have. And it's abundant. It's there for the taking, right? You have an unlimited supply of discipline. There are no limits to it, right? And if you start drawing on that instead of drawing on your bank account, drawing on the alcohol, alcohol's a limited supply because you're going to run out of money, right? Drugs are a limited supply. You're going to run out of money, right? All of these other things, they're a limited supply. But discipline is unlimited. You can take as much of that as you like. And what's going to happen is the more you take, the more you have. It's an amazing thing. And the thought should make you feel good. All right, I've said enough about it. It is your best asset. Draw on it. Find out what it does to your life. If you can't do it anyway, right? If you make good decisions and you do good things and you keep swinging at it, you're going to achieve good goals. Goals that are going to benefit you, your family, and your community. That's where life should be. We shouldn't have refugees. We shouldn't have, human trafficking. We shouldn't have any of that shit. We shouldn't have the need for armies. Everyone should be able to run around the place and just greet people as they find them with discipline, right? and respect. Respect's another asset you have that's got an unlimited supply. You can draw on respect, right? And you will start to see that you will encourage people around you to do the same thing. If you give respect, you get it. If you are disciplined, people around you will see you as an example and sort of go, well, you know, maybe I should do something a bit different. The change you get is not just you. It's everyone in your sphere of influence. Now you think about that. Think about an inexhaustible supply of something. There are very few things in the world that exists for, but discipline is one of them that it does. It's like this big cupboard. And whenever you take something out of it, it's bursting at the seams after you've taken something out of it. Because the more you take, the more you have. Now that should make you feel happy. Right, I've said my piece. I've been on about this for 20 minutes. If you don't think you can do it, just do it. Right? Do it anyway. Make good decisions and do good things. Keep on swinging. And I'll see you guys at the next video.